Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the closing playbook for Friday, September 19th, 2025. Happy Friday to everyone. Welcome to everybody who is here early and in the chat. Hello, Diane and Clyde, PGA, Andy, James, Karen, Sam, Gina, Tommy, Luigi, Suzanne. All right, let's do a little pre-show info for you, and then we will get things kicked off. If this is your first time at Closing Playbook, a special welcome to you. Closing Playbook is a free daily webinar that we do where Graham Linman and Nathan Tucci are the stars, and they usually provide a fairly fast-paced, trading-focused end-of-day session. It's usually fast-paced because there's only about a half hour to talk about the concept that they want to trade and then find the trades, walk everybody through them, get into the trades and all of that. On top of that, they also try to mix in a little bit of education, a little bit of recap on the day, planning for tomorrow, or in this case, it would be Monday. And occasionally we have some special guests, which we also will have today. About the interface that we have here, when you first come to opening and closing playbook, which are the same interface, the same room, you can come to both in the same place. 10 a.m. for closing playbook, 3:30 p.m. for, 10 a.m. for opening playbook, 3:30 p.m. for closing playbook. Anyway, when you get here, do not click on the little login here text. All you need to do is put in your display name, what you want to be known as in the chat, and click join, and you can get right in. If you want to shrink that green column on the left, which doesn't serve a whole lot of purpose, you can click on that icon in the top left there. We call the hamburger icon or menu. It's the three horizontal bars, and it will shrink the column on the left to give you a little more room for the presentation. In the bottom left corner of the presentation, there's a speaker icon. That's your mute and unmute button. In the bottom right of the presentation, there are potentially two icons to help control the size of the presentation on your screen. The double arrow icon will make it full screen, which will hide everything else but give you the best view. And the one to the left of that is a picture in a picture icon that will shrink down the presentation into a little floating window so you can do something else behind it without losing the presentation. Now, the picture in a picture button is browser as well as device dependent. So depending upon your browser and your device, you may or may not see that icon. You will see it in Chrome for sure. I'm not sure about other browsers, and we don't know exactly which devices it works on and which it doesn't. But you can try playing around with how you're viewing the presentation if you want to be able to use the picture in a picture functionality. Now, the chat is a group chat. Everyone will see what everyone's posting. But if you'd like to send a private message to any of the hosts, being me, Nathan, or Graham, you can click on any of our messages in the group chat, click on that little double speech bubble icon, and that will allow you to send us a private message. Only the host that you're messaging will be able to see that message. If you miss any part of an opening or closing playbook or want to watch something again, the replays are always available at the URL you see on the screen. That will continuously grow. As we have day after day, we'll keep adding to that. So within a couple of hours of each opening and closing playbook ending, you can go there to catch the replay of that event, or you can go anytime to catch the replay of other events. Today in closing book, we are going to have a jam-packed session. We're going to have, of course, our normal look at our Thursday shotgun trades that we place in closing playbook on Thursdays, and our normal kind of Friday shenanigans that they usually do. And then we have several guests coming. In the beginning of the session, we're going to have Silas Peters here. He's going to be talking about a special event that's going on this Sunday, 2 days from now, that everybody's invited to, not just members. And later on in the program, we will also have Jeff Smith and Stephen Ground here to talk about silver. So a lot going on tonight, or this afternoon, I should say. And we should also have at least Nathan here. I think Graham will be here as well. I'm not 100% sure, but Nathan should be arriving momentarily. So as we are waiting for him, let's see what's going on in the chat. see. Hey, David, the traded opening was that an Iron Condor? You're talking about the QQQ trade, Cindy Lou? If you're talking about that one, then yes, that was an Iron Condor. I don't remember off the top of my head. I think it was a standard one. It may have been a reverse one. I don't remember the trade. I didn't commit it to memory, so I don't recall. But the QQQ one from the beginning, I think, was a regular Iron Condor, a regular kind of box trade. But
Dave, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Nathan. Yes, but
okay, because it's not showing
I'm
me
sure
on the
everybody else
stage.
can hear you as well. The reason you're not on. Oh yeah, you're not on the stage. I think it's just the view that we have. Like I think if I do that, you're here.
You just wanted people not to see me. That was kind of rude.
No, that's just what it defaulted to when you came in for some reason. It just the system didn't want people to see you. I always want people to see you.
All right, well, whatever you say, I'll take
you balance the average age in the room when I'm here into a reasonable number instead of just near death. So how you doing?
Well, good. I have so much to cover today, but I'm going to try to be short because, like you just mentioned, we also have a packed plan. Dave, the first question I have is gold is up over 1% today, rallying nicely. Now it fell almost 2% since I said it would go up. Am I allowed to just pretend, even though I'm losing the trade, like it being up 1% is good and I called it? Is that allowed? Or do I have to go by the fact that I'm down $1,000?
I think what you just said counts as transparency, and anybody that missed it, and you can go from there and claim whatever you want after that.
Yeah, there you go. It's like as long as you say, a certain phrase like, "Hey, not all of you guys might have got this, but for me, as long as you just like disclaim it, then you can just
kind of like you can say whatever you want after saying no offense."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. No offense. No, but guys, gold looks great. However, I got in closer to the highs. I got in maybe right at 37.25. So I'm actually still below entry, and I wanted it to go up more. So it was a very aggressive trade. I am down and going to take a hit on that one, but I actually still like gold. Doesn't change my view here on gold at all, I have to say. I'm actually down on IW. I actually did the IWM trade. I got filled. Someone asked me my target on IWM. I got filled for a partial loss on IWM. I lost on gold. There's another trade I lost. So I like melted my account down by like $2,500 just doing like some hedges and some things. And in reality, I should have just said what my actual point of view, which I did say, just be long, be aggressive until the market's not going up. And while I said that, I still threw on like $2,000 or $3,000 worth of hedges and just lit them all on fire. So I wish I just would have really went with confidence into my actual point of view, which was, hey, the market's ripping higher. All it wants to do is go up. Let it keep going up.
It's hard when you're being contrary to what a lot of other people are saying. It's hard to have that confidence.
Yeah, and at the same time, like I totally agree with people who are saying like, hey, I get it. I'm bullish, like I am. And I have 32 open bullish positions. And it's like, all right, well, maybe throw on a little outsized hedge just in case. Right. But anyway, that said, I will say we're like break even or even a little, I'm actually a little bit worse than break even on our shotgun trades, which is kind of wild because the market's up nicely. But I think just the Costco and the Mara trade between those two were negative. NVIDIA is fine. Although NVIDIA sold off a little bit here. Yeah, no. Okay, NVIDIA hit the target. Never mind. NVIDIA hit the target. Wells Fargo's good. XSP's good. Okay, just really the Costco one that looked a little rough there. What else is on my list here? Gold down. Okay, yes. We have IBIT we're going to do today. We also have a scenario where the weekend trade might hit before the weekend even starts, folks.
Yeah, I saw that. It's like
yeah. So I mean, that would be one way to keep our perfect streak alive, is that we didn't even have to go into the weekend for that trade. So sorry, I'm bouncing around here just looking at everything I've got open and kind of one of some of the talking points. Been a pretty phenomenal week in opening and closing playbook, though. I mean, guys, obviously, like I said, I kind of missed on gold and had some other hedges, but we had that CLSK position that absolutely ripped. We had a Tesla trade. We had a silver trade from 2 weeks ago that I think a lot of you took, that Okla trade that Graham gave. So really been a pretty phenomenal week in opening and closing playbook. So hopefully you guys were able to take full advantage of much of those. I'm going to close my Tasty trade account because it keeps dinging at me every time price moves. And next up, we'll try to keep some of these outsized positions rolling with an IBIT trade that I'll give you in just a second. Apparently, closing out of Tasty did not stop it from dinging my desktop every 2 seconds with an update.
You have it open
here.
web and desktop, or what do you got?
Yeah, no, it's like the or maybe I just have it open in another browser. Is possible?
Yeah, somewhere.
I have too many tabs open to keep
Patrick,
track of.
I just posted the link for the replays in chat and pinned it at the top as well.
I don't have it open. It's just
for everybody here, if you want to grab that link, that will always show you the recent replays, and we post the replays within an hour or two of the session closing most of the time. So you can always see a replay of opening or closing playbook. And now, starting with yesterday's Lance's session, they will also be including Lance's midday Stonkomania session as well.
Nice. It should be a green week for most of you. I didn't take full advantage of it, like I said, as I would have hoped to. But still, I mean, a pretty phenomenal automated options hit. Overnight options went 4 for 4 again. I mean, just a lot of good stuff, plus some bonus trades. So I didn't do an official. I should get better at doing kind of an official weekly wrap up. Put some trades on a slideshow and just walk you through everything. Probably be a good thing to get in the habit of doing on a Friday. But we will. We'll try to make a plan for that as we go along. Couple other things as I'm bouncing around here. Sunday night, guys. Sunday night, Silas is on. He'll be on. I'll move him onto the stage here in a minute. We are going to do a special Sunday night that includes non-members. Okay, so usually Sunday night is members only. This Sunday night will be non-members included because we wanted to get as big of a spotlight as possible on what Silas built. I think you guys will very quickly understand why when he's on and he's able to walk you through that Sunday. Dave, I think that link is in the announcement, but would you mind posting it one more time in the chat as well?
Yeah, actually, the announcements are gone because of Lance being here midday.
Oh, okay.
So I will grab it and post it again.
So if for whatever reason you guys have not just at least added your name and your email so that you can get on there for Sunday night, it is free, open to everyone. Take advantage of that. Me and Silas will talk about that more in a moment, including one specific stock that Silas said he was going to buy today, but he's actually going to wait and not front run you. And he's going to wait and buy it on Monday so that you guys get a chance to see the presentation before he actually goes in on that stock. Okay, one other thing that I can't help myself, but I have to do here, Dave, before I get into the trade and then bring Silas on. I feel like I'm becoming like Donald Trump, where every time like someone says something about him, he has to like go public and like defend.
You froze there for a second. Of course, Nathan wants to defend himself, so the system froze him, which is perfect. So hopefully it's just for the right amount of time for while he's defending himself, and then he'll come back.
Yeah,
hi,
sorry.
Hi, Nathan.
That was climactic timing.
You did a good job defending yourself. Let's move on.
What is that where I ended that I needed to defend myself?
Yeah.
Okay, so listen. How many in here know Jeffrey Turnmeyer? Give me a yes in the chat if you guys know Jeffrey. Not Geoff, who I jokingly call him Geoff. Not Jeff, who's going to talk about silver, but Jeffrey Turnmeyer. I'm sure most of you know him. So Jeffrey sent a Slack today that one of his students, Dave, said something like, I don't know the exact quote, but it was something like, "Hey, sorry, Jeffrey, I got distracted listening to Opening Playbook with Graham and Nate, but Opening Playbook is mostly just a sales pitch these days now anyway." And I was so deeply offended that I was like, all right, I'm going to show Jeffrey. So what I need you guys to do here to defend my honor is post something in the chat like, "Hey, Opening Playbook is full of value, trades, and education." And that is an absurd thing to say, so that I can show him, Jeffrey. Because he's texted to me like, "Oh man, you guys are really you guys are really burning people or something." I'm like, Jeffrey, just because one person said that to you does not mean that's actually what Opening playbook is. So I just need you guys to light up the chat with some messages like, hey, that is opening playbook is full of value, so that I can send it back to Jeffrey like a middle school girl fight where I can.
I will I will if you'd like, I can send him because I was going to be yesterday um well, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, you did your little bit of a dad talk, and it spawned countless people saying you guys are doing a great job. So I'll send you guys a snapshot.
There you go. All right, so we'll team up. We'll team up.
I'm literally still pulling like testimonials from it, but I'll send you that. We can show Jeffrey, and we wouldn't have 500 plus people coming back every day if it was literally just a sales pitch.
Yeah, I was like, are you kidding me? It was one of those things where like, obviously I don't actually, I'm not actually too worried about it. I just kind of jokingly like say, oh, I'll prove you wrong. But I do think it's important like for Jeffrey to know like, hey, you can give education, and then of course you can talk about your services, and like, that's fine. That's what we do. Like, I have no shame doing an hour of education and saying like, you guys should totally buy my service. Like, why would I feel bad about that? Anyway, I'm really getting off a tangent now. Okay. Let's actually do trading, because that's what
Silas left. He doesn't want to be a part of this
anymore. Silas is like, oh, you guys, what the heck is going on? Okay. Let's actually get to some trading, because that is what we are on closing playbook. So, this is IBIT. So this is the Bitcoin, the Vanguard ETF here for Bitcoin. Now, what happened is Bitcoin futures quietly went up to like 118,000 or so, and then pulled back pretty aggressively. So this chart's pretty ugly. Frankly, when you look at the chart, it makes it look like you should short Bitcoin. But I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to look for a little fade back up and see if this actually catches up to the market. The market kind of melt up that we're getting here. This is IBIT, but if you look at Bitcoin, obviously very, very similar chart here. Like I said, it kind of had this melt up into the 118s. Pretty big rejection here. I'm going to ignore the fairly ugly price action that we're seeing and assume that maybe Bitcoin will actually catch up. So again, normal disclaimer here. We're talking about a fairly low probability trade where we're going to go for, over 100% in a week or less. But I just think with Bitcoin being down 2% over the last day and a half, and everything else kind of screaming up, including gold, by the way. So we've got, both risk on and risk off moving up. Maybe this is just a little bit of a liquidity dump here for a move, and we could see this go from 115, maybe all the way back up to 120 if we get a big run. But certainly I would hope back up into the 118 run here. So this is IBIT. We are going to look for, here we go, the September 26th. That's 7 days away. Why? Well, because IBIT doesn't have daily options. So the closest one that we're going to be able to trade is 7 days away. Now, I'm going to go pretty aggressive here, guys. Like I said, not a high probability trade. Obviously, we are not looking for like a high conviction weekend option type of trade. We're basically looking for can IBIT crack back above where it just was, which is all the way up into the 67. So if you go look at this, you can trade this a couple different ways. You can trade this on the 66, 67 line. That's about 36 cents. And which means you get nearly a 200% ROI, but I'm going to go even more aggressive. I'm going to go 67, 68. So super aggressive trade here. It would be, right around a 400% ROI here. And the idea is not IBIT chart looks great, because frankly, it looks pretty ugly right now. The idea is, who cares about the chart? We're in a melt up. IBIT could catch up. And if it does, it'll probably move pretty quick. And then we'll get an outsized ROI. So just a small size here, nothing crazy. I'm not putting a whole bunch of money into this position. I just like some of these outsized risk reward when we are in a little bit of a melt up phase. Now, keep in mind, we are trading this not only aggressively, not only against what now looks like kind of an ugly chart, but also against one of the worst times for Bitcoin, which is the back third of September. So I'm sure Silas will correct me for taking a Bitcoin trade right against the seasonality. But before I add him to the stage, I will do it anyway. So we got IBIT with a really, really aggressive trade. Guys, don't take this if you're planning on winning the trade. I mean, just literally, it's not a high probability. I'm taking it because I think the risk reward is really good if we do get Bitcoin, just kind of participating here late in the game. So, gonna post in the chat. Buy to open. IBIT. September 26th. 67 call. Sell to open. IBIT. September 26th. $68 call.
Somebody said your internet froze earlier right after you said Trump. Maybe it was maybe they were listening.
Invoking something. Yeah. Okay. Debit 22. And then guys, if you want to put a target on this, you could go for like a 300% type win with a target right around 80 cents. So super aggressive. Don't trade this if you're planning on winning. I'm only going to put a couple contracts on it. I will tell you that once we get into October, I'm going to put on another IBIT trade for the month of October, which I'll have a lot more confidence. That'll be like a month-long trade that we still do go out of the money, but I think we'll align for a much better trade, because while September is horrible seasonally for Bitcoin, October is wonderful seasonally for Bitcoin. And so at the beginning of October, we will put a more sincere position on, but I'm just going to put like literally $100 on this one, guys. Just to be clear, we're not talking anything crazy. I'm literally putting $100 on the line for this trade. Okay. Next on my list, someone said, Lance says it's all over and all the money has been made. Melt up money? Is that what we're talking about? I don't know. I missed what that was actually responding to, Carl, but let me know. Speaking of Lance and people talking about me and having to defend our honor, Dave, someone else said that Lance said that we weren't even trading live the other day. So I have to defend myself.
I was going to talk to you about that. Yeah. He said it wasn't real trading, and he didn't say we weren't trading live. He said it wasn't real trading because it wasn't day trading.
Oh, I got you. Okay. I was going to say,
he didn't say it wasn't live. He just said it's not like he was talking, he was complaining about the 30-second delay, and he's like, well, they're not doing real trading where 30 seconds matters. Like,
I got you. Okay. I was going to say, man, I have to defend myself from all corners.
Right.
I just did a $10,000 live trade, and now someone's saying I'm not. But I get it. Okay.
Ralph said the only sales pitch that you do is for Penn, and he's not wrong.
All right. Well, hey, Silas, I'm bringing you to the stage because so far we have had a closing playbook session where I've meandered around and talked about nothing for 20 minutes, and people might want to actually hear something of significant value. So I'm just going to, turn it over to you and say, what do you think right now, Silas? Overall market. I know that you're not as ridiculously bullish as I am, so I think it's good to have a counter point of view. But I also know that you've got that stock we talked about earlier. You said you're going to hold off. Tell me if I'm correct. I don't want to speak for you. You're going to hold off and not buy the stock until Monday after everyone sees the presentation and the why behind that. So first of all, is that correct for that particular?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
And I'm live?
Yes, you are.
Do I need to defend myself on anything?
And I don't think so. I don't think anyone's throwing darts at you yet, but they might start
Not
soon.
yet.
Yeah.
So good thing is I've got thick alligator skin. So you are correct. I think that's, yes, it's either black or white, right? I did not buy the stock. I am holding off on that. I don't want to cause too much movement, throwing a $2 billion into the stock on Friday on triple X day. But no, all jokes aside, yeah, I looked at it. It's fine. Still going to be in play throughout the weekend, obviously, and into next week. There's going to be plenty of time, so I'm not worried about that. And I thought, hey, let's talk about it. Let's hash it out, and we'll look at it together. And then for those that want to deploy real risk capital to it, we'll do so together. We'll all be in it together, win, lose, or draw. And that's the name of the game. We'll have winners, we'll have losers. It is a bullish play. It's a smaller stock play. It's a micro cap stock, actually. If you asked me 5-10 years ago that I'd be dabbling around in micro caps, I'd probably say you're crazy. Not really crazy, just not my cup of tea. But because of what the software and the technology we've been able to create, that some of what we will be sharing this weekend on Sunday, I'm all about it. I don't care. I don't really care what it is, as long as we're expecting a move and it's moving. Then we'll take it. We'll try and capitalize that and take advantage where we can.
Yeah. So, Saz, can you give us the 1,000-foot view? So, obviously, there's the baseline understanding. Oh my goodness, weekend options just filled. Wow, that is amazing. Okay, sorry, distracted again. Obviously, we all have the basic kind of concept. If an insider who knows more than you do about their own company's buying, that probably means something good, right? But can you give us kind of just the quick bullet point? Okay, what actually gives you high conviction? Is it when lots of different people are buying? Is it when one key player is repeat buying? Where can people go wrong, assuming that just an insider order means something that it doesn't mean? Just, we're obviously going to go much deeper on Sunday, but I think this is one of the things that, in my view, lots of people talk about, like a surface level. Oh, hey, some insider buying. But very few people actually really understand how to, comb out what really means something versus what's just noise out there happening from, people doing what they do.
Yeah, no, those are great points. And I'd really try and just keep it simple, because you can complicate just about damn near anything you want to.
Yeah.
But I really do try and keep it simple. As you know, there are literally thousands of transactions that hit the database every single day. And so then it becomes a situation where you go, oh my God, you enter this territory. Now I'm getting bombarded by hundreds, if not thousands, of transactions. Where in the world do you even start? How do you cull them out? How do you weed them out and pick the very best one? Because we obviously can't trade every single ticker, nor do we want one. There are reasons that we can take, say, thousands down to 100, hundreds down to under 50, and then ultimately down to maybe, under a dozen or so, or really under 5. And I'll share some more insight into that, I think, on Sunday. But higher level viewpoint is, I am looking for a few key things. Yes, we love to see cluster buying. So when obviously when you've got an insider an insider is classified as insider is an insider. So this could be a CEO, CFO, director, legal counsel, chief marketing officer. All kinds of insiders. But we love CEOs. We love CFOs. Right? These are some of the smartest guys in the room most of the time. And then we look at size too. We're not really worried about little $2,000, $4,000, $8,000, $16,000 transactions. In fact, we have a filter that we kind of start. We like 6 figures and up. We'll consider anything under 6 figures as well, especially if we got a lot of cluster buying. But that's kind of a starting point. Do we have multiple insiders? Sometimes we get that. Sometimes we don't. It might just be a one-off CEO, one-off CFO, one-off chief accounting officer, whoever it may be. We'll look at all that data. But just, again, keeping it high level for this session is, we like multiple insider activity when we can, what we call cluster buying, particularly there by the CEO, CFO. We also we look at size, kind of starting at that 6 and 7 figure transaction size and up. And then we also will then pull back, or kind of peel back and say, what does this look like from a technical perspective? We like when these things are lining up with price. Like, hey, has price just taken this stock? Has it just taken a 30% haircut because it got downgraded by some Wall Street analyst, or did it just have bad earnings, or whatever the case may be? Has it been beaten up, and has it found an area of perceived value, and insiders are coming in and pouncing? Now, last thing I'll say on that topic before I turn it back to you is, not only do we have these corporate insiders or C-level execs, but we also have the ability simultaneously to track politicians as well as what we call gurus or Wall Street hedge funds. And under this guru category, that does include Wall Street hedge funds, also includes banks and pension funds and things of that nature. So that is what we kind of call the triple trifecta there. If we have all three coming in and buying, it's rare. But when we have all three coming in and participating, we certainly get interested in that. So hopefully I answered a little bit.
Yeah, that makes total sense. So let me ask one follow-up question, because you are going to be giving a small stock that, typically, like you said, like not something that I would, would show up on a normal scan, right? If I, typically anything that I do is going to be big names, things with lots of liquidity and all that. But one of the beauties of what you do is that you might get a surprise name that shows up, that obviously not everyone is gonna know about. It's not going to make the mainstream news, all that sort of stuff. And so I guess my follow-up is then, if it is a smaller stock, if it is a stock with less market cap, and you see big, orders, big buys on it, does that give you higher conviction relative to a big name with the same kind of thing? In other words, if the board of a $20 billion company has $2 million worth of buys, or the board of a 100 million cap company has $2 million worth of buys, I assume the smaller company actually gives you kind of a bigger outsized potential.
Yeah, the risk reward starts to get a little bit skewed there, and it is a reason why I do like these areas when they come up on the radar. Yeah, we'll get our Apples and our Teslas of the world and our Nvidias, and we like to look at those, but you got to think about the volume and the amount of analyst coverage and the people that are participating in those stocks on a daily basis, buying and selling constantly, investment mandates by mutual funds and other investment banks constantly having that turnover, even the size of the CEOs and the directors that are constantly moving in and out of that stock. When we have something that comes up on the radar that's particularly like a micro cap in this case, or maybe in the pharmaceutical space or biotech, there's a lot of kind of under the radar energy plays, and even these smaller regional banks, like those have been some of our best plays because they're all under the radar. You're not going to hear about this on CNBC. Jim Cramer is not going to be saying buy. You're not going to be. You don't hear about these guys, and it allows us to kind of play in this area that is not getting a lot of attention, which therefore means we have a lot of potential upside there. There's always going to be risk, of course, but we have a lot of potential upside, and it's not going to be as headline driven as most of the familiar names out there. And one thing real quick, I get asked a lot about liquidity. Is liquidity an issue? No, we're not day trading this stuff. We're not sitting here scalping this stuff. And so liquidity is not an issue. I'm not worried about a 3-cent spread, So we're in this thing and we're trying to ride it out, and we'll be happy to turn it over and look for the next thing.
Yeah, no, I like it. I mean, I think the insider thing has always been fascinating to me, but frankly, I was always concerned of what I just talked about, like not really getting it. Like there's lots of, headlines so-and-so bought, but, it could be that they just got a bonus or a whole bunch of other reasons. And until you really do the due diligence, which I mean, your software's unbelievable. You guys will see it on Sunday night. Unbelievable at doing so much of that due diligence for you to really comb through those opportunities, plot them on a chart. I mean, it's just amazing stuff. So you guys will see that. But this to me feels like a way more actionable, practical way to take advantage of it. So I'm excited for that. And I think, Silas, if people want to know, like, do these guys really know something? Do they really have an idea? I mean, just go back to COVID, where they realized ahead of everyone else, hey, our companies aren't actually doing bad like everyone expects. And they bought at those lows and watched, those returns absolutely rip over the next year.
I mean, we have so much history and documentation of those certain healthcare names, stocks in general, on the way, prior COVID, on the way down, and then right before the bottom. We have substantial case studies on around wartime events, getting positioned in defense stocks, and it's just a kind of a rinse and repeat cycle that we see time in and time out. And people will complain about politicians doing this and doing that and want to restrict it. I'm like, hey, let's keep milking it while they can, and that's the last of my worries. That's the least of my worries. And it's not, but the key and the secret here is finding, the needles in the haystack. And that's what the software does. And that's what I'm here to do, to help you to discover too. We've got guys trade these with, $2,000 accounts all the way to $1 million plus accounts. And so it really fits the whole gamut there. It's a great way to participate, get your feet wet.
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm looking forward to it. Let me also jump Mr. Jeff and Steven on, because we're one of the other things, that Silas, obviously, I'm sure you could speak to is on the commodity side. Guys, real quick, just a little housekeeping here. The weekend option trade did hit the target. That was one of those exceptions where we actually hit the target before the weekend even started. So don't chase the trade. It is over. It was, like these last half-hour trades, typically it was in the fillable price for about 10 minutes. And that's, you kind of got to set your watch there for that one. But for anyone who did not sign up for Sunday night yet, guys, one more reminder. I know Dave posted the chat at least once in the chat. May post it here. Yeah, again, and then if you just scroll down right below the video, it's in the announcement as well. That will guarantee you get an access link for Sunday night, which again is open for everyone. Also note that Oklo closed the day at plus 29% today. An absolutely unbelievable day on one of our favorite stocks, and one that we had some live trades on. So just a crazy return there on Oklo. And also Oracle hit. So again, really capped off a great week in opening and closing Playbook. So awesome to see that. Now, I just mentioned, Jeff, that I don't know if you were on. Gold, to me, looks absolutely beautiful right now. Had that little dip, flipped around as positive. I said, I don't know if I can claim success with gold being up 1% when I bought it still a 0.5% higher and traded an out of the money position, and I'm down 100% on the trade. Can I still claim like, yeah, look, gold's up just like I predicted? I don't know if that counts, but it does look like it wants to rip all over again.
I'll give it to you. How's that?
Yeah, there you go. Jeff's going to give it to me.
But I saw that Silas's software actually came in with a bunch of hedge funds, buying puts on PLC. So you might be aware of that one.
Yeah, there you go. We mentioned on the other closing Playbook that Graham and I have been talking about gold a lot. Seasonally, rate cut cycle, everything else points to gold having a great run. And I think one of the first questions we get almost every time is, well, what about silver? Is silver going to catch up? Is it going to outperform? And our answer is usually like, yeah, like it'll probably participate, but you should really ask Jeff. Like if you really want to, kind of a playbook, you should ask Jeff. And then our dear friend Steven here, who's on, hello, Steven, can now, I guess, talk with some level of authority since he helped with the research there on those last couple of cycles. And so between you and Steven, I know you guys can get into the presentation because I know you have a full presentation on that, but maybe just high level, what do you expect out of silver? And if we're right about gold, why is it better to have some exposure and have a strategy for silver just as much as it would be for gold?
Well, I think one of the biggest things right now, the silver contract is above $43. SLV is above 40. Noting that there's really nothing here between right at our current spot and $50. So I don't see why it can't get there. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to get there tomorrow, but I think over the next, probably by year end for sure, we'll probably be seeing $50 silver. Look at what gold's done. It made a new all-time high. What does it do when it does that, Nate? It pulls back, right? Which is what we love.
Well, especially if you wait like you do on your strategy and don't buy it at the penny high like I did. But yes, continue.
But now we're starting to push back up again. And I think, gold's probably going to try to get to at least $4,000. Probably if silver's going to be going up to $50. I'd really like to have a whole lot of help out of copper here. It's trying to stay above 460, but I think we've got a lot of headroom. Even the dollar is still weakening up, which is also good because we have lower interest rates. It's going to weaken up the dollar. It's going to make gold and silver a lot stronger.
Yeah, I tend to agree completely. And on our Sunday night thing that Graham and I did a couple weeks ago, we made the statement that we both think that we could get a serious melt up here. Graham did some really great research on what happens with September rate cuts, especially when the market's already kind of irrationally high, which I think you could argue that it is. Typically, you get some irrational follow through.
Yes.
And so our kind of thought here, Jeff, was that we think the top dogs will participate quite well. The Mag 7, the guys who are just getting better and better on their margins as they incorporate AI and all that kind of stuff. We think the small caps will get the tailwind that they typically do on rate cuts. The guys in the middle might not be the best position. They're kind of like not at that NVIDIA, and they're also not like kind of the small cap. But the most win-win has to be the metals because they can participate in the risk on and the risk off environment.
Absolutely. And the one thing that's really nice about them, just like, all the other stocks out there, they don't have CEOs and they don't have, earnings reports or anything like that to deal with. All we have to do is just kind of watch the trends and kind of go from there. And that's the beauty about it. I mean, you think about next month, we start earnings season again, right? Well, gold and silver ain't going to care about that. So, and not only that, we start a new fiscal year also. And so starting October 1, we have a brand new fiscal year, new budgets, the whole 9 yards. And usually there's a lot more spending in that. And when that does that, you get inflation hedge. Well, there's gold and silver again. So I think everything's lining up to have them continue to push higher.
Yeah. Well, I certainly agree. And that's why I asked you guys to come on not once, but twice to talk about silver, because we've got that question over and over again. And as much as I would like to say, I just came up with this great silver strategy, I cannot say that. I have to turn that baton over to you. So if you guys have asked about silver, if you want to participate in a way that, I think it's just kind of a no-brainer way to participate. I mean, not to cheat, not to front run you guys too much, but historical shows 100% win rate. So it's hard to beat 100% win rate. Check this out. Steven, I don't know if you have any other notes or thoughts off the top here, but just wanted to give you guys the floor because like we just said, I really can't think of, an asset that's better positioned. So then the question becomes, all right, well, how do you trade it? And so that's kind of what I wanted to hand the floor over to you guys for. And Steven, you're muted, just FYI.
There we go. Sorry about that. What I love about the way Jeff has cooked this up to trade it is that it really takes timing the market out of the equation entirely. So we have this natural phenomenon we think with a very high degree of certainty is going to drive silver higher over the next 18 months, 2 years, maybe even longer than that. Historically, as we'll get into here in a minute, silver actually outperforms gold pretty significantly in rate cut cycles, especially in the later windows of them. And then, with Jeff's unique approach, we don't have to guess like, oh, is this the week it's going to make a 2% bounce? We're going to set a unique trade that allows, complete freedom to just kind of forget it, let it sit there. And then when the move that we obviously can't predict the future, but we would say with a pretty high degree of certainty is going to happen sometime in the coming months. It's just going to cash out, similar to a lot of your strategies, Nate, automated options, overnight options, just on a little bit of a longer timeline and with, that unique silver advantage there.
Yeah, well, I mean, it does make total sense to me. Obviously, it has the hallmarks of the way that I like to trade, except for, like you said, even a little bit longer term that can try to take advantage of as much of that cycle as possible. So, I mean, take it away if you guys are ready. If guys add questions, you can place directly to Dave. I think, Dave, maybe you can just walk them through how to DM you if they have questions throughout this so that we can just turn it over to Steven and Jeff. But thanks again, guys, for another phenomenal week. It's been a lot of fun. I think we've covered a lot of ground. Looking forward to Sunday night, and also really looking forward to Jeff just seeing how this silver cycle works out when we look back a year from now and say like, okay, how many positions did we stack up? How much advantage did we take of this? Because if it's anything like what you predicted with gold and how those positions stacked up, obviously you will be sitting very well in very good position a year from now.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't see why. I mean, it doesn't matter what you buy in gold or silver, stock wise, I think they're all going to perform well. I mean, in fact, if you look right now, all of the stocks and ETFs of gold and silver really have outperformed gold and silver over the past couple of weeks and months here.
Right.
So it's really pretty incredible.
Yeah, folks, we're going to pause the group chat. If you have any questions, go ahead and direct message me. The instructions are in the chat, and I will queue them up for these guys to answer at the end of their presentation.
Love it. Thank you, Dave. Let's dive right into this. It feels like this week has been about 11 days long because there's been so much going on. So I hope that you have had an awesome week, and I'm excited. Thank you all for being here so that we can dive into this. Obviously, before we get into anything, you're going to see some really incredible stuff here. And we just talked about what Jeff is doing is pretty phenomenal. So we want to be very clear. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. The strategy you're about to see is a brand new approach to trading silver during the rate cut cycle. The trades expressed are based on back-tested data. According to that 5-year backtest, starting all the way back in September 2020, the strategy published 38 trade alerts with all 38 returning as winners. The average return per trade was a remarkable 26.85%, enough to pay out $1,342 on a $5,000 starting stake. Any of the trades you see expressed today are going to be based on that same starting stake unless we tell you otherwise. And if you have any more questions, you can always go to the prosperitypub.com homepage for more details. Now, I really want to kind of drive this point home because we're talking about a phenomenal strategy, quite frankly, an undefeated strategy, according to our research. And anytime we do that, we want to be very clear. We're not trying to guarantee that this strategy is going to be undefeated into the future. In fact, I'm sure Jeff would tell you eventually losses will come. Eventually gold and silver have a bad week or a bad few months. That's going to happen. It's an impressive strategy. Our entire job here and goal is to give you a remarkable edge in the stock market. With that said, don't leave this presentation thinking, oh man, I'll never lose trading silver, because that's just not